recording. Okay, hi, good evening, everyone. All right, so today is our first Jumpstarter session, and I am Chua Jing Yong, and my Jumpstarter partner is Michelle. Yeah, so a little bit about myself. I'm a mechatronics engineer that just finished, and yeah, so now just getting interested in seeing what there is to software development. Yeah. Okay, so later on we'll be doing on Netflix cloning as well. So yeah, do join us, and hope you guys can learn something in the process as well. Okay, so I'll pass the time to Michelle.
Yeah, hi guys, I'm Michelle. A little bit about me. I'm currently a year 2 student studying computer science in my university. So let's cut it short. So let's go to the cloning part now.
Right. Oh yeah, by the way, Michelle, I think you didn't share the sound. So yeah, this side can't hear it.
Sorry again.
Can't hear the sound from the YouTube.
I hear the sound. Then let me start presenting.
And down here we have the tabbed area. So we will be adding a bit.
Okay. At the
Yep.
right.
Can.
The JavaScript to give it this effect. Basically, we have a tab. The active tab has the red border at the bottom. We click this one, you'll see we get this content. So we'll be using the grid to align all this stuff. Pick your price. This is a style table we'll be creating. So we will be adding a little bit of JavaScript. And then down at the bottom, we just have a footer where, again, we'll be using CSS grid. So pretty simple as far as looks, but there is a lot of styling that we have to do. It is responsive, which I'll show you in a second. So this is the actual Netflix site, which you can see is very, very similar. The icons are different. They use SVG icons. I use Font Awesome. So you can see that this stuff is pretty much the same. This is the same. We got the table here, and then the footer at the bottom. So very similar. And if we check the responsiveness out, let's make it go down to about 960, and you can see it changes up a little bit. So the logo goes over here, the text gets smaller, the viewport height gets smaller, and you can see the tabs still look pretty good. And the footer, so once we hit about 700, then this gets smaller, this will stack up, this content stacks up here. Table looks pretty good, but when you get to a certain, if you go too small, it kind of gets cut off a little bit, but you can mess around with the container if you want. But all in all, I think it's a pretty neat project, and I think will sharpen your CSS skills. I might even add it to my Modern HTML and CSS course on Udemy, which I'll have the link to in the description if you're interested. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to jump into VS Code. And I have some files created here, but I haven't written anything. Basically, I just have my index.html, my CSS folder with a style.css, my JS folder with a main.js, and then I have my images folder. And in the images folder, I have the background, the Netflix logo, the tab 1 image, and then tab 2 has these 3 images here. So you can get these. I'll have a link in the description, probably to a CodePen where you can get the images, or you can just get them off the actual Netflix site. All right, so let's get started. We're going to jump into the HTML. And I think the way I'm going to do this is in sections. We'll do the showcase area first, doing the HTML and the styling. And then we'll jump to the tabs, and then we'll jump to the footer. I'm going to save the JavaScript for last, though. Okay, we'll do that last. So let's start off here with just some boilerplate using Emmet. So I'll do exclamation enter or tab. And I'm not going to explain every little thing. I'm expecting that you guys have at least a little experience with HTML and CSS. If you don't, I would suggest going and watching my crash courses or even taking my Udemy course. But just get familiar with the basics. All right, so let's say Netflix. I'm just copying the title that they have. So watch TV shows online and watch movies online. Okay, so we also want to link our style sheet, so CSS/style CSS. And then we're also using Font Awesome, so I'm going to go and grab that, CDN at fontawesome.com. Start using free.
Is the speed okay?
And then we'll just grab this right here, and let's paste that right here. Okay, and that should...
I can't hear.
Sorry. Yeah, I think the sound should be okay. If 1.5, do you think we can do 1.5? Or if it's too fast, then yeah, I think 1 times speed is also okay.
And then 1.25.
Maybe we try a little bit. We experiment a bit also lah.
Do it for the head area. So I'm going to open this up. Now you can open it, through your file system if you want. I'm using an extension called Live Server for VS Code. So I'm going to right click and open with Live Server. And we just get a blank page for now. Okay, and I'm just going to close up the finished version. I'm going to keep the original Netflix landing page open though, just for reference. So we're going to work on the showcase area, which is this whole area here. Basically, we're going to have a showcase top, which will be this part, and then a showcase content, which will be this part. And then obviously we have to style the, the overlay and background and stuff like that. So we'll start with the HTML. So inside of our body, I'm going to use a header tag here, HTML5 semantic header tag, and let's give it a class of showcase. And we're going to have our showcase top, and inside the top showcase top we're going to have an image, which is going to be our logo. For the alt, I'll just put Netflix, and then under that we're going to have our button. Now this is the sign in button, and I like to use utility classes. If you've watched me do any CSS, you know that I like to create classes for buttons, alerts, badges, all types of utilities. So we're going to have a utility class called BTN, and it's going to be rounded. So I have a class of BTN rounded that we'll create as well. And this isn't actually going to go anywhere. So under showcase top, let's do showcase content, and we're going to have an H1 here. We're going to say see what's next. And underneath the H1, we're going to have a paragraph, and we're going to say watch anywhere, cancel anytime. And then under that, we have that big button with that, watch free for 30 days. So let's do an A tag. It's going to have the BTN class, and this is going to be a very large button. So we're going to have a BTN-XL class. Oops. All right. And then inside here, we're going to have watch free for 30 days. And then I'm going to have a chevron icon. So I'm going to use Font Awesome. I'm going to put I'm using Emmet here, a class of FAS, and then a class of FA-chevron-right. And then I'm also going to have a custom class of BTN-icon.
By the way,
so I can
Michelle,
push it over a little bit.
This one, right?
All right, so let's just see what that can.
The classes and all that, right? Those fonts are from which one again? Huh?
Font Awesome, if I remember correctly. Wait, this one is 804.
I'm trying to I tried to copy the front part. I miss out the front part of it. How about your side?
Oh,
Have you been?
awesome.
Yeah. So far, I can see your screen only, so they get to see your
Yeah.
visual side.
Okay, into this site here.
Fonts awesome.
Let me see where he got the link. Oh, he went for like where? Yeah, where did he get the link?
Somewhere. Okay, I think here.
No, I guess no.
And then we're also using Font Awesome, so I'm going to go and grab that CDN at fontawesome.com. Start using free, and then we'll just grab.
Oh, right.
I'll start for free. Okay. But I think they need free kit. This is free kit. Do I have to send them my email?
Hey, why cannot find one? Hold on. So Font Awesome, get started. Start free.
Yeah, I guess yes. I need the email. Let me put up my email.
Wait, so we just grab from here, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, manually type it out. Oh no. Okay, check the email.
I'm trying to check my email whether I got. Okay, so when I get there, they give me this one. But this is great. Data 6. Is it this one?
This one maybe. Okay, I got one here. Let me try copy the key code. Okay, then you just click in. So toss the 2E4, yeah. Why am I one different? Okay. I'll send mine to the chat.
Okay.
Like that.
I guess this one is a bit different for each person, is it?
Maybe also.
Every people got different code, I guess. Right. What I see from this one is more like a general one.
Okay. Okay lah. Then I think we continue first.
Mm.
So,
Here,
let's
fix
flip
that.
this.
right here. Okay, and that should do it for the head area. So I'm going to open this up. Now you can open it, you know, through your file system if you want. I'm using an extension called Live Server for VS Code. So I'm going to right click and open with Live Server. And we just get a blank page for now. Okay, and I'm just going to close up the finished version. I'm going to keep the original Netflix landing page open though, just for reference. So we're going to work on the showcase area, which is this whole area here. Basically, we're going to have a showcase top, which will be this part, and then a showcase content, which will be this part. And then obviously we have to style the, you know, the overlay and background and stuff like that. So we'll start with the HTML. So inside of our body, I'm going to use a header tag here, HTML5 semantic header tag, and let's give it a class of showcase. And we're going to have our showcase top. And inside the top, showcase top, we're going to have an image, which is going to be our logo. For the alt, I'll just put Netflix. And then under that, we're going to have our button. Now, this is the sign-in button. And I like to use utility classes. If you've watched me do any CSS, you know that I like to create classes for buttons, alerts, badges, all types of utilities. So we're going to have a utility class called BTN, and it's going to be rounded. So I have a class of BTN rounded that we'll create as well. And this isn't actually going to go anywhere. So under showcase top, let's do showcase content. And we're going to have an H1 here. We're going to say see what's next. And underneath the H1, we're going to have a paragraph. And we're going to say watch anywhere, cancel anytime. And then under that, we have that big button with that, you know, watch free for 30 days. So let's do an A tag. It's going to have the BTN class, and this is going to be a very large button, so we're going to have a BTN-XL class. Oops. All right, and then inside here, we're going to have watch, let's say watch free for 30 days. And then I'm going to have a chevron icon, so I'm going to use font awesome. I'm going to put I dot, I'm using Emmet here, a class of FAS, and then a class of FA-chevron-right. And then I'm also going to have a custom class of BTN-icon so that I can push it over a little bit. All right, so let's just see what that gives us. Okay, not much. We can see we have the little icon here. The logo, we're going to change the size and all that stuff. Don't worry about that. But that's it for the showcase as far as the HTML goes. So now we're going to turn this into this using CSS. All right, so let's jump into style CSS. And before we do stuff with the showcase, let's just add some some base styling. All right, now I'm going to actually use a variable. So I'm going to use CSS variables, or custom properties they're actually called. So I'm going to say on the root scope, I'm going to have a primary color, just in case you want to actually change the Netflix red to something else. You can easily do it by just changing this variable. So the color is what is it? E50914. So that's that red color. All right, and I think that's the only variable we need. I had a dark color and light color, but I don't think we actually use it. So yeah, I don't think we use it, so I'll just leave this for now. All right, now I want to add a reset. So I'm going to say for everything, let's do box sizing and set that to border box so that padding doesn't affect width or anything like that. I'm also going to take off the margin and padding from everything. All right, so that's our reset. And then for the body, we're using font family Arial. It's actually Helvetica, but I can't find Helvetica for free, so we're just using Arial. And then we're also going to add the font smoothing anti-aliased. So we're going to add the vendor prefix of WebKit-font smoothing and anti-aliased. All right, and then we're going to add a background. So the body background, I'm actually going to make black. And let's say the color, I'm going to make a gray, so 999. All right, so that's the body. Unordered lists, I'm going to just get rid of bullets. So list style, none. These are just some base styling that I do for pretty much everything. For the headings, the text is going to be that light gray, but for headings, I want them to be white. So I'm going to do H1 through 4. H4, and let's do color white. All right, and for the links, so any links, let's make the color white and take away the underlines. I'm going to do text decoration none. All right, I'm just going to turn on format on save. I don't think I have that. So I have the Prettier extension installed, which is a formatter, but I want it to format on save, and I think I have that shut off. I do, so I'm just going to check that. So that way, if I save, it just kind of formats things for me. There we go. Okay, so let's see, paragraphs. Remember, we turned off the margin and padding for everything. However, paragraphs, I do want to have a default margin on the top and bottom of 0.5 rem. Okay, and I'm using rem units for the most part. If you're not familiar with rem units, I have a video explaining M and rem units. Basically, 1 rem is equivalent to whatever the number of pixels of the font size of the root HTML element, which is this right here, which by default is 16. So 1 rem is going to be 16 pixels in our case. 0.5 is going to be 8 pixels because half of 16 is 8. 2 rems would be 32 pixels because 16 times 2 is 32. If I were to change the font size of the HTML element explicitly, like let's say to 10 pixels, then
Sorry again.
So the RAM is the pixels, the 16 by default.
RAM for pixels. Yeah, 1 RAM is 16 pixels.
Oh, okay. Right. Cool.
Okay.
1 rem would be 10 pixels, but in our case, it's going to be a multiplier of 16. Hopefully that makes sense. And then any images we have are going to take up 100% of the width of its container. All right, so those are the base styles. If we save that and take a look, it should look like this. You can see the margins gone from the body and the headings and stuff like that.
Do you want to pause
so
here for a bit?
let's grab the, whoops.
Maybe we pause here a bit and see if we can get to that level.
Sure.
Okay, so far I only got the see what's next only. Yeah, so mine's looking quite white for now.
I'm still figuring out where's the font or something.
Oh, okay. How does yours look like for now?
You mean my page? Plain.
Okay lah, same.
Where can I find the late font size thing?
Nice.
Yes, it's 5 point something.
Interesting. I think turn white. GG. When they turn white. the background color, how they put the background color to become black again?
Background color.
Mm.
Change it to background color. But why we don't have one?
Mine at the
I know why. Because I'm not linking. Am I sharing my screen?
Mm.
I guess no. Wait. Okay, so basically I'm linking the style sheet with HTML here.
Mm.
So after that, it should be, yeah, the black, the background color is this one.
Oh, all right. In the
Yeah.
bottom.
Either background or background color.
Mm. Okay. Thanks.
We can only find the link. Just installing for about version 5. I wonder what is this kit used for. But the video doesn't have like the image stuff. So this is the image, is it? Yeah, this is the image. Can you see it? Right here. That's how they put up the image. Even though we don't have font awesome, we still can get the image here.
Ah, okay. So we have that. Uh, so I just put this image and directly link it inside, right? Okay. Let's see. Okay. Let me settle my here a bit. I think my CSS so ugly. Need to change it a bit. Okay, where is it?
Image is 100%. No wonder it's so large.
Okay, so this one's over here.
And this is the normal size one. Normal size of the image. I don't think we have this one WebKit.
Your WebKit's moving.
Yeah.
Okay. Here, so there's Netflix icon. Then we put it in here. The Netflix icon, I just copy the address, right? We just copy the address and can already, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Address and then put it right next to it. Uh, header. The header. Right, okay, so I got the Netflix logo there already.
Then we continue.
Nice, yep.
This should be a semicolon. Let's do the showcase. So showcase, I want this to have a width of 100%, and then the height, I'm going to have this be 93 VH, okay, which is a viewport height. So basically, you can think of, and ignore the size of this logo for now, but you can think of the viewport height here, so the height of the window, as 100 slices across, and I'm taking up 93, so it'll leave a little bit of room at the bottom, just like if we look right here. So it's basically going to take up, down to around this area. If you wanted to take up the whole thing, which I would prefer, then you would do 100 viewport heights, but I'm just trying to stick to the format of Netflix. All right, so let's see. What else do we want on Showcase? We want to position relative because we are going to position some stuff absolute within it. And then we're going to add the background image here. So the background is going to be a URL. And it's going to be, we want to go .. / outside of the CSS folder into images. And then we want background JPEG. We just want to add some other attributes here. So no repeat. We're going to center on both the X, Y axis. And then we want to cover. And that should be good. So if we
I'm looking for modeling here again. They don't have a link, right? Yeah, they don't have a link.
For which one? The URL.
Yeah, the URL.
Okay, let me
Oh,
double check.
here.
CSS.
Oh yeah, he's here.
Got right.
Got.
Okay, no repeat center. Okay, we try use that one. Okay. It's,
So after that, it becomes like this.
oh, nice. My one doesn't have one. Okay. And I show you my screen.
Sure, sure.
Okay, so So this one done the width. Okay, this one. My result looks something like this. Is it because my index here I don't have it yet? Showcase content. Am I missing something here?
Let me see.
Okay, what am I missing? Oops.
Don't showcase. Because your header, you miss out the header class.
Header class. Oh,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
right. Class should be
Showcase.
showcase, right? Okay.
Transy. Yeah.
Okay. Yep, got it. Nice. Okay. All right, let's continue. Okay. Oh yeah, let me stop sharing.
Is there any sound? No.
Yeah, suddenly no sound.
Okay.
So let's do showcase dash top, and let's position this relative, because I'm actually going to position the logo absolute within it, the logo and the link or the button. So the showcase top, we want we'll do that after the Z index so I can explain it. But this is going to have a height of, I'm going to do 90 pixels. All right, and then let's do the image. So we want the showcase top image, and let's cut that sucker down big time. Let's do 170 pixels. So if I save now, you can see that it's much smaller. It's around the same size as this. All right, so as far as the image, we're going to position this absolute, which means we're positioning it inside of its closest parent element that has a position relative, which is showcase top. Okay, so we're positioning it inside that, and we want to say from the top we want to go down 50%, and from the left 50%. Now, if I save that, we take a look, you can see that it's down 50%, because remember the showcase top is 90 pixels high, right? So it's 50% down and 50% over. However, this also add the length of the actual image is included in that, in that positioning. So it looks further over to the right than it should be. So what I'm going to do is add a transform translate property here to kind of put it into place. So let's say transform, and we're going to say translate. And this will kind of make up for the actual height and width of the image. So we're going to do negative 50%. When you do negative, it's basically going to go up and left. So we want to do negative 50% here as well. So now if I go ahead and save, now it's pretty much smack dab in the middle, which is where we want it. All right, now the link, which is, where is the link? Can we even see it? What the heck? You know what? Maybe we should style the button, because I don't even know where the link is. Watch anywhere, cancel. It should be the sign in link. Did I forget to add it? Oh, I didn't put any text in it. It should say sign in. There we go. So there's our link. So I guess we'll position it, and then we'll do the button utility class after. So let's add underneath showcase top image. Let's do showcase top A, okay, because it's the only link in the showcase top. And we're also going to position that absolute, and we're going to say from the top 50%, move it down, and then from the right 0. Okay, and I'm also going to add this transform translate here just to move it to where I want it. All right, so if we take a look now, you can see that there it is right there, and it's pretty much in the middle of the logo, which is where I want it. Okay, so let's see. Let's do the button class just so this, we want it to look like this, somewhat like that. And we'll be using the button class quite a bit. Now, usually what I like to do is have our utility classes at the bottom. So we'll continue on up here, but then at the bottom we'll have our utility classes like button or buttons. So let's do class of BTN. And we're going to have quite a bit here. I'm going to display it as an inline block. So basically it's inline, but we can add height, width, stuff like that. The background is going to be our variable. So the way that we do custom properties is we define it above like we did, and then we use var parentheses, and then we can put in our primary color variable. Okay, and then the text color, let's do white. I'm going to add some padding. I'm going to use rems, so I'm going to do 0.4 rem, and that's the top and bottom, and then 1.3 rem left and right. And font size is going to be 1 rem. And let's align to the center. So text align to the center. And we want to remove any border. And the cursor should be a pointer, because you want to think of making your code scalable. So we might use this button class on a form at some point. Obviously in this particular project we're not, but you want to think of the future. So we don't actually need this on a link, but if we use it on a button somewhere, we would want it to be a pointer. So we're also going to add in margin right. I usually add margin right just in case we put buttons, in line next to each other. And let's see, let's add an outline of none, because we don't want that annoying looking outline. And then we'll add a little box shadow here. So let's do box shadow 0, 1 pixel 0, and then RGBA, which is RGB alpha. So it's going to be black 0, 0, 0, and then the alpha, or the transparency, is going to be 0.45. And then let's just add a little bit of a roundedness to this. So border radius 2 pixels. Okay, now on hover, let's do BTN hover. I'm not going to change the color or anything. All I'm going to do is make the opacity 0.9. So just make it a little see-through, which will give it that effect of changing the color. And remember, we have that button rounded. So by default, it has 2 pixel border radius. But what I want to do is, if it's rounded, if we add this class, I want to make it 5 pixels. So it's a little more rounded. All right, let's also do our sizes. So we have BTN-XL. And for that, I'm going to make it 2 rem, which in our case is 32 pixels, because remember, 1 rem is 16 pixels. Padding, let's do 1.5 rem top and bottom, 2.1 rem left and right. And then we want it to be uppercase, so text transform uppercase, which is, it's better to do it this way than to actually, type in uppercase letters in your HTML. All right, so we have a button XL. We're also going to have a button large, so I'm just going to copy that. And the only difference here is going to be, this is going to be 1 rem, and then the padding will be a little less. We'll do 0.8, and let's do 1.3. All right, so let's check that out. So you can see our sign-in button looks pretty good. This should be bigger. Did I use large? Oh, wait a minute, this should be large, LG. There we go. All right, so I'm trying to think if I want to do the overlay. You know what? Let's handle this part first, and then we'll do the overlay last. So this needs to be in the middle, and the text needs to be bigger. So let's think here. Yeah, let's do the showcase content, because all this is wrapped in a class of showcase content. So we'll go back up here. Let's go right below the showcase top A, and we'll say showcase content. And we're going to position this relative, and let's do a margin auto. Okay, we want to move it to the middle. We're going to do a display flex, but we don't want it to be a flex row. If I save this and we take a look, you can see that everything is now lined up horizontally, which we don't want. We want it vertically. So to do that, we just change the flex direction to column instead of row, which is the default. Okay, we also want to justify the content to the center and align items to the center, which will move everything to the center. Also the text itself, also make that center. Okay, and if we save that and take a look, good. Now we need to move it down quite a bit. So I'm going to add a, actually let's do a margin top of 9 rem, which is quite a bit. And so about right here. Yeah. Now this, we want to work on this part, the H1 in the paragraph. Obviously that's way too small. The button looks good, but the text needs to be bigger. So let's add that right here. We'll say showcase content H1. I'm going to text transform. Oops, text transform to uppercase. And we're going to change the, actually, I'm sorry, this isn't going to be uppercase. Because if we look at the actual site, this is the only text that is not uppercase, so we don't want that actually. What I do want to do is change the font weight to 700, and then let's increase the font size big time. So we're going to do 5.2 rem, and then let's add a line height of 1.1 rem, or just 1.1, which is M. And then margin, I just want margin bottom 2 rem, 0 everywhere else. So 2 rem. All right, let's check that out. Good. So now we want this text, which you can barely see. So that's a paragraph. So we'll just do showcase content P. And this I actually do want to text transform uppercase. And let's make it white. And font weight, I'm going to do 400. And font size. So font size, we're going to go with 1.9 rem, and line height 1.25, and then again margin 0.02 rem, and that should do it. Okay, good. So obviously the background image is way too bright, so we need to add an overlay. We're also going to add some inset shadows. So there's many ways to do this. We're actually going to use a pseudo class or pseudo element. I forget exactly what it's called, but we can use before and after. So basically we can add kind of like a ghost element to style inside of, CSS by using before or after. So I'm going to go right under the showcase, which is right here. And let's do showcase. And then we want to do double colon. You can also do single, that will work as well. And then after. Now, before and after, you want to have a content property, but we don't actually want to insert any content, so we're just going to put just quotes here. And then the idea is that we want to position this inside of our showcase, because our showcase is position relative. So we want this to be positioned inside of it absolute. Okay, and then we want it to go from the top zero position and left 0 position, which is the top corner, top left corner, and we want it to span the entire thing, so 100% wide and 100% height. All right, now the Z index, I'm going to set that to 1, and then the background, let me just show you real quick. If I do like background red and we take a look, it's just covering the whole thing, right? So we positioned it absolute, top 0, so it starts here, it goes all the way across, all the way down. Z index 1 makes it so that it's on top of everything. Now, the way that I'm going to do this is the background color, instead of setting it to a solid color, I'm going to set it to an RGBA value, which is basically a transparent color. So I'm going to do black, 000 for red, green, blue, and then for the alpha value, I'll do 0.6. So now if we take a look, you can see through it. All right, now we have an issue here, and that is that the text is underneath that showcase after. We need to bring it up, this part and the showcase top. So the way that we can do that is by increasing the Z index on those properties. All right, so let's go to showcase top and let's set the Z index to 2. Okay, if you're not familiar with Z index, basically the higher it is, the closer it is to you. So if I save that and now we go back, now it's on top. Okay, because the overlay has a Z index of 1. So now this part, the showcase content, we want to do the same thing. So we'll go here and we'll say Z index 2. And now if we go back, now it's on top. All right, so the last thing we need to do here is the box shadow. So I'm actually going to paste this in because it's quite a bit to type in here. Actually, no, I want to show you guys kind of how this works. So let's go to our showcase after, so our overlay. I'm going to just paste this part in. So this is giving us a box shadow inset. This is basically going to be the left and the top. And these values are going to be how thick the shadow is. So if we take a look at this, you can see that it's this part, you can see the shadow here, and then at the top. Okay, there's no shadow on this side. And if we increase these values, like let's say 320, and look, now you can see how far the shadow comes out. So if you're not happy with what I have here, you can always mess around with it and change it. I think that looks pretty good though. However, I also want the shadow on this side. So what we want to do is we'll take this whole thing here. We can put a comma and paste that in. Now, since we want it on the other side, we want to put a negative value here and here. Okay, but I'm going to keep it at 120 and 100, just negative. And now you can see we have it on the bottom and the right, so it goes all the way around. All right, so I think that looks pretty good. So now we're going to do the tabs, which is this area, these 3 tabs with the icons. So we're going to jump back into our HTML, and let's go underneath the header. And we're going to have a section with the class of tabs. And we're going to be using a container, because if we look at the Netflix site, notice how these don't go all the way over to the side. Same thing in here. So we're going to have a container to restrict that. So we have a class of container, and then each tab is going to have an ID of tab-1 through tab-3, and also a class of tab-item. Now, the reason for the ID is because we need to target this within the JavaScript. Okay, basically we need to have an event to click these things and have the content change. So within here, we're going to have a, actually, you know what, let's add the tab border class as well by default, because that's this red border right here is going to be a class of tab border. And what we want to do in the JavaScript is when we click another one of these, we want to switch it over, basically take that class off of here, put it onto here, but this will be the default. So we can put that, the first one, we can have a class of tab border. And then we're going to have an icon. This is going to be FAS, so font awesome, and then FA-door-open. And with font awesome, you can change the size by adding FA-. You can do 2x, 3x, 4x. We're going to do 3x. Okay, so that'll give us the icon, and then let's have a paragraph here. And I'm going to give this a class of hide-sm, which I'll tell you why in a second. And then let's say cancel anytime. So hide-sm just means that when we're going to have a media query that will make this disappear when it's on a small screen, so it'll just show the icon. All right, so we can use this class anywhere where we want it to not show on small screens, because it just gets too cluttered. So we're just going to remove it on mobile screens. So I'm going to just grab this div here and copy it down twice. And then this next one will be tab 2, tab 3. And then we want to remove the tab border from these two. And then for the icon, the second one is going to be FA-tablet-alt. And the text is going to be watch anywhere. And then let's see this one here. The icon is going to be FA-tags, and this text is going to be pick your price. Actually, let's not do an uppercase here or here. All right, so we'll save that. That's the tab section. Let's take a look. So it looks horrible right now, so we're going to style that. So we'll jump into our CSS, and we'll go.
Font awesome. No, we don't have font awesome.
Sorry?
We don't have font awesome here.
Phone awesome, huh?
Because those are like icons from font awesome.
Oh yeah, those are the extra icons that we needed, right? Let's see. You go back again. Maybe I can try look it up.
Yeah.
Which are the icons that we need here? Okay, now you're looking it up there also. Okay, what font do we need? We need the bottom three fonts, which are they changed already. Okay. Go here. It's a door. There's a door font. Door open. We use that. I send this one. This one maybe you can use. Oh. We need TV screens, multiple TV screens. The last one is bigger price. Okay, so where do we implement those again? Huh? Where do we put that in?
Which one?
The icons.
The icons. Actually, you have to get it from Font Awesome, because for Font Awesome they have a link, which is online, where you can put it in your HTML, so that they can connect your HTML with the icons that Font Awesome have. And I'm looking for that link.
Oh, I put some in the chat already actually, but I'm not sure. Is it the same one? Is it correct?
This is the icon class name, which is the default name that they put it on.
Excuse me. The default.
Can I
Wait, so
find-
we're missing the front link, is it?
Yeah, something similar to your, like, linking a style sheet, style CSS, that kind of stuff.
Is it the do we need the what your own script source, the each individual one?
I think no.
Not that one, okay.
35 pen. Use, or if I just copy paste it. But if I just copy paste.
See what 1.5 is.
Yeah, they do have, if you just directly copy the link.
Just copy the one, right?
Yeah, this one.
Wait, this one you put where? Okay, I show you my screen. My screen looks something like this at the moment. Yeah, so like the icons are right here at the bottom.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it the same as yours?
If in terms
your-
of the icons, then it's yes. But if it's this kind of stuff, then it's a bit different.
Okay, okay, nice. Yeah, my top there I haven't rearranged properly yet. Okay. Right, so cancel anytime. Nice. We have the class. Okay, all right, that's good. So I guess we continue a bit more. Yeah. I think we have like 10 minutes left. What time did we start actually just now? Forgot already.
9 something, right? 9:10 or 9:15? 9:10, I guess.
10, okay lah. Yeah, then we do 5 more minutes. Yeah, then we end. for today.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, Michelle, no sound from your side again.
Your price. Actually, let's not do an uppercase here or here. Looks horrible right now, so we're going to style that. So we'll jump into our CSS, and we'll go underneath all the showcase stuff. But above the buttons, like I said, I want to keep the utility stuff down at the bottom. So tabs. So tabs itself, we're going to have a background. Oh, we are going to use a variable here. So let's do a dark color variable. So we have a primary color. I'm just going to copy that down, change this to 1,4 3 times, and we're going to call this dark color. All right, and then we'll go back down to our tabs, and we're going to use this right here by doing var dark color. All right, and I'm going to push it down a little by just adding padding top of 1 rem, and then we want a border bottom. So this is the border for the whole entire section. It's going to be 3 pixels solid, and let's do 3D 3 times. So we need a number sign here. Okay, and then let's see. I think that should be good. So let's save that. So you can see that it has this color, this lighter. It's not the black background, it's a little lighter. Now, these 3 icons, these sections, we want to just use the grid to align them like this. Now, the way that the grid works is you have a parent container. Let's just look at the HTML. You have a parent container that you display as grid, and then you have the grid items directly inside. Now, we don't want the class tabs to be the grid, because if we do that, only the container div, that's the only direct child, so that would be the grid item. We want these 3 to be the grid items, these 3 divs. So what we'll do is we'll put the grid on this container, on tabs container. Okay, so let's do that. Let's say tabs container and display grid, and we're going to use grid template columns. Now we want 3 even rows. So we could do 1 FR, which is a fraction unit. We could do that 3 times, or we could just say repeat, and we could say repeat 3 times 1 FR, and that will make them all even. And then I want a little bit of gap in between, so grid gap, I'm going to do 1 rem. Okay, I also want to align everything to the center, so align items, center, and justify content to the center, and also text align to the center. Whenever you're using Flexbox or the grid, you use this quite a bit. So let's save that. Let's take a look. All right. Now we haven't specified the container yet. That's why it's, these are so far over. So let's actually do that. Let's create the container class. Actually, we should have some padding here as well. Padding top. Oh, you know what? I'm going to add the padding on each individual div. That's why. All right. So anyways, let's create the container class, which is technically a utility. So I'm going to go down. We'll just go right above buttons, because the container we're going to use in a couple different places. So I'm going to give this a, whoops, we should probably create the class first. So I'm going to give this a max width of 70% of the screen.
Michelle.
All right. And then we
Yep.
Your icons, are they like side by side? Because mine's like vertical.
Yeah, mine are side by side.
Oh, interesting. What did I miss?
Can you let me see your code?
Wait, let me share again. Okay. So display is grid, repeat 3 and 1 FR.
Yeah.
Grid
Mhm.
gap is 1 rem. So I thought this one looked okay already. Let's see. Tabs. 3 pixels solid. On the right. Oh, is it this one?
No, I guess it's not this one.
No, it's not that one.
But, yours is the tabs.
Tabs, right? So it's
Tabs
tabs, container. Each one should be okay, right?
tab 1, tab 2, tab item.
Bottom haven't touched yet. Text alignment, center R1 REM. I type it wrong here. 1 FR. Oh, it looks correct. Container. Very interesting. Your one exactly the same lah, so no problem, is it?
Yeah, exactly the same.
Okay. All right. Never mind lah. I think move on first.
Sure.
Just
We want everything in the middle, so we want to do margin auto, and then let's do overflow hidden. We want everything to stay within the container, and then padding. I just want on the left and right. I want 2 rems. So I'm going to do 0 top and bottom, 2 rem left and right. So let's save that and go back, and now you can see that these are now within the container, which is 70% of the screen. If I were to make this smaller, you can see that it shrinks up. All right, so back to where were we? Back to the tabs. So let's see. We have tabs container. That's all set. For the font, I want to make it a little bigger and add a little bit of padding to the top. So let's do tabs paragraph. Let's do font size. We'll do 1.2 rem, and then padding top. Let's do 0.5 rem. All right, so check that out. So it's a little bigger now, and we get some padding on the top. Now, let's see. I want padding on the top and bottom of these. So what I'll do here is I'll say inside tabs, or rather the tabs container, the direct div. So each div, I want to add padding. We'll do 1.5 rem on the top and bottom. So now if we save that, we go back, now we have some spacing on the top and bottom. So we just targeted each div. I also want to have a hover effect here. So basically, when we hover over these, I want the text to be white, the text and the icon, and also have a pointer cursor. So we can grab this and just say hover and say color white and cursor pointer. Okay, so now we get that effect. All right, so let's see. The tab border class, which we only have on the first one right now. I don't even know if we'll be able to see it because we have no content under it, but it's going to be that red border, so we might as well add that. I'm just going to go right here and say class of tab dash border, and we're going to say border bottom And it's going to be the red color, which is our primary color. We have that in a variable. And it's going to be 4 pixels solid. Okay. And there you go. You can see the red border at the bottom. All right. So now I think we're all set as far as the tabs. Now we want to do the tab content, which is, you know, this stuff here.
Right.
So
Okay
there's
lah.
3
I
different.
think we can end here first for today.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, nice. All right, so yeah, guys, thanks for watching. For those who do join us, I mean, like afterwards, we are watching the recording. And yeah, that's it for today. We'll try to continue this again next week, just to finish off on the cloning process and all. Right. So thanks, guys. See you all next time.
Bye.
How do I stop recording this?